It's touch sensitive, you know, like just like me, it's touch sensitive.
Aren't we all?
How'd you guys meet?
I mean, honestly, through a DM slide. I'm a bit of an anxious guy. I'm not gonna speak for Sean. He could be too, potentially. It was on November 1st, 2023. You hit me with the business formal, like, hey man, like, we make these pedals, we're here, we have some mutual friends, whatever. And I immediately screenshot it, sent it to Nick Reed, our beloved friend of Tallon. And I was like, what's up with this guy? I was like, this is a cool company,
He's
but like,
do not.
and he said, listen, he's fucking weird. But no, he gave you an incredible review. You guys are great friends. But
shout out to Nick.
Yeah.
All right, so you start DMing, you're sliding. So how does the champ concept come to be, just in general?
off the jump, I was like, I don't use pedals, but this is a really cool idea.
Yeah,
And you were like,
we had
fine.
just released the Bill Murray pedal, I think. And that pedal is very much a like, what is this band's tone? How can we condense it into a single pedal? So I think I wanted to ask you like what you were using at the time, what was important to you in your tone, how it felt, or like how it sounded. Because there's always a lot of different things you can like latch onto as a guitarist when you're playing that other people might not latch onto. Like you're just like, oh yeah, when I pick this way, it feels good. And no one would ever know that if they weren't you. So that's what I was trying to dig into, is like, what's special to you about like when you feel good about a tone? What is it about it? And that's kind of where we started.
So let's talk more about the pedal. Like, where does it go from after you guys first start chatting about the idea? Like, what's the process?
After I told him about the angle of like, okay, what makes your tone special to you? When you're playing, how do you want it to feel? How do you want it to sound? I had him tell me more about like the guitars, the types of guitars he uses. I had him send me the Kemper patch he was using at the time so I could play through it and get a feel for what he was talking about. And it was like a Marshall-based thing.
Yeah, it was a JMP.
So to me, JMPs are like really touch sensitive. Like they can be high gain when you dig in. When you don't dig in, they're not. They're pretty clean. So I really focused on that. I wanted like cascading gain stages that would be really dynamic. We work with a lot of metalcore bands, so it's just like, this is max gain at all times. Whereas like State Champ's like, you're a rock band, you're a pop punk band. There is like nuance to the leads you play. Not that there's not for other people, but
No, there's not, only for me.
Touch sensitive nuance to the way that you play. There is like dirty your guitar tone gets, like changes throughout different parts of the song. So I knew we needed a pedal that would be like responsive to that.
Yeah.
And you weren't just turning it on and off. It was like
Right.
you were playing with this pedal.
Yeah. I remember going over before you guys even had this space to your basement.
My basement,
And
yeah.
like you had it on like the breadboard thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that looks crazy. I've never even seen that before.
It is.
This guy's building bombs in his basement on breadboard. But I was like, shit, this sounds sick. Like from the first iteration, I was actually genuinely really impressed. Also because like I kind of said, I felt like pedals for me never really got me to like, in just one, I had to stack them. I had like a few ODs. I had a Tube Screamer. I had the Walrus Audio Voyager. Like I used to have to stack everything and it got so complex that I felt like I adopted a less is more policy. I was like, I don't want to have 8 pedals.
Yeah.
I just don't.
You just needed one that was made specifically for you.
Yes.
That was part of the design philosophy too, was like his guitar tone that he's come up with is the result. It's the sum of all these different parts. My design philosophy going into the Champ? Because you're talking about how many pedals you used and how complicated it gets live. There's just like more stuff that can break. I knew you were probably using all these different pedals, trying to get like different qualities from each pedal. You're stacking them. You're like trying to figure out what order to put them in.
I'm learning about like a colorful, transparent, like OD. It's like
Want like different EQs, different crunch characteristics and stuff, and you were able to explain to me what was important to you, and I was able to design the signal chain inside this pedal to get that end goal, pretty much.
and that rocks.
It does rock. We have a digital octave in this pedal. Analog octaves can be sick, but they don't like track really well. They don't do chords.
But I would wager that's not very like newbie artist friendly.
Yeah, and it's also just like, it's a narrow path. It's a really specific type of effect. A lot of bands now with like, you're writing on the computer, you're writing through a quad cortex or whatever, you can stack octaves very easily on your computer, and you can't necessarily stack octaves very easily live, especially not on a small, like normal pedal format thing like we've made here.
I remember looking at Kings of the New Age being like, I've used octaves all over this, and it was kind of like a newer thing for me. I play a lot of like octaves, but never really the octave effect. And the octave effect, like a poly octave with the one up and one down, really just does add so much. Like, it cuts through, and I seem to use it on bridges a lot. And I was just like, it would be really cool if we could attach that to it, so we're not just like selling someone like an overdrive, the State Champ's distortion pedal. But yeah, so that's how that came up, and you were like, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
and I was
said,
like,
we
damn,
can do that.
can you?
And at that moment, we could not. But I was like, I'll figure it out. I reached out to Steve Demadash. He did the Noise. He also did the Banshee, which wasn't out yet at the time. He got pretty close pretty quick. So there was this bug in the firmware where if you left the pedal on, it would slowly drift out of tune.
You had sent me, like, I think it was literally, I think you came into the office, plugged a sine wave into it to test it for the entire day.
Yeah.
And then reviewed it, bounced it, sent it to me, and you were like, dude, just check this out. And it gets like straight Halloween, like discordant chaos mode.
Like, so the effect is a clean low and high octave. And this was just putting out nonsense.
It was crazy.
It honestly took us like 2 years to get to the point where like, this is ready to release.
Yeah.
And it was so difficult to get to that point because I did not trust this pedal at all after
didn't.
having that many problems.
You were more skeptical than I was. I mean, even with that like 13-minute thing, I was just like, we could try to put it out. And you were like, absolutely not.
What's the worst thing that can
Well,
happen?
I didn't know it was 13 minutes. I thought it was like
On the nose.
a couple hours, but
No.
because you were like, well, who's really gonna like have it on for that long?
13
I was
minutes,
like, well,
probably a lot of people.
13 minutes makes more
Yeah.
sense. In my memory, it was like a couple hours, but still, we put out good, right things here. We don't rip people off, and we
No,
don't
we
make your
gotta
pedal
do it
sound weird
right.
after 13 minutes.
We got to do it right. You got to finish the job. Steve did his thing. He reached out to some other people he knows who's good at that type of stuff, and he solved it.
Honestly, I don't even own a truck, which is really funny, but I super enjoy like those like old Toyota pickup trucks that have like the fun stripes on them and stuff. I really like, honestly, a lot of cars that look like that, despite not owning any. Like, even in my head, some of those old like Jeeps that had like the wood paneling on the side, maybe even a station wagon. Just think it's nice, but racing stripes, no thanks. Gotta draw a line somewhere.
It's going to be on the side.
Yeah, that Tallon OD makes me sick, dude. Or sorry, the ABR OD.
We have a clean amp going right now. So at low gain settings, I wanted it to be as touch sensitive as possible so that you can interact with the tone the way that you're picking. If you're like, if you're playing while your singer's talking or something, you'd set the vibe.
I do that.
But then when you dig into chords, yeah. It blossoms. Yeah.
Like we discussed earlier, having to stack a bunch of things to get to where you want to go is not the vibe.
No, like you had a crate amp when you were.
I had a crate amp, yeah. When I was a boy, I had a crate amp, and I remember buying DOD's grunge pedal. It's $30 at the time, and it just sounded awful. It was like a lot of feedback. It was really noisy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what grunge is. But either way, I always wanted to have a corrective experience. And if I was able to design something, I always wanted to if it was gonna say it modeled a sound, I wanted it to actually model that sound, which I feel like this does. I love that it's responsive. Also, I can think back to some other ODs I've had where you turn it on and it's just it's not responsive, reactive. It's just right here the entire time.
There's a lot of pedals that stack really well, but they don't you play it by themselves into an amp that doesn't have that much gain, and you're like, I thought there was gonna be more to this. So it was important to me for this to have enough gain available to plug into a straight clean amp and get a State Champs, a pop punk,
Absolutely, yeah.
all out sound. Yeah.
100%. And I think that is achieved. I'm honest with you, pal.
Another thing that was important to me while I was designing this, I was using my matchless Lightning. I've always really liked that jangly EL84 sound that you get with an AC30, matchless Lightning. There's a whole bunch of them. So you can use this in my head as kind of a channel switcher where you're okay, when it's off, you have this jangly, it's still a really touch sensitive type of tone. But when you go into the chorus or whatever, you need an extra bump. You can. I think those amps take gain pedals really well too.
I've never played one, I don't think.
Dude, they're good.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to go between the two. Sounds sick.
Dude, it every single note you're playing comes through. It was really important for me for this pedal to let that happen and interact with mid-gain amps really well. And you can break into a lead. There's enough gain there that you're not fighting the guitar to come through. If you play light, you'll have a really.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's almost like an indie vibe. What happens if we bump it up?
No.
To the high gain?
The octave?
Tie.
The high
no.
gain?
No.
Not the high gain.
Is there a chainsaw style setting on here, you think?
This is just an HM2. So we have a high gain amp setting now. Drive side isn't actually doing a lot right now. It tightens up the lower end a little
I
bit.
like the way it tightens it up though, for sure.
That's great. Do a little EQ sweetness out of it too. But it's not doing a lot of there's not a lot of gain going on. But you can just make it so neat. What happens if you just put all the knobs all the way up?
Dime it?
Yeah. Still sounds good.
It actually sounds really good. You can't make it sound bad.
No matter how bad you are, you can't make it sound bad.
Well, hold on. Tones and fingers, after all.
You want a noise gate.
Sounds great.
Pedal.
Thank you.
To market, we go.
In the end, I designed this for you, but I think people are gonna find this to be really broadly useful in a lot of different scenarios, and hopefully
That would be
you do
really
too.
cool.
Yeah.
We've had a few people try it and they were pleasantly surprised by it, which is really nice to hear because I definitely felt, I was like, oh man, you guys have the Banshee and the noise. I really hope I can stack up against those pedals. And I feel like I can. And I feel like that rocks. There's a lot of really cool ways to use it, and I'm excited to see what people can create with it.
Yeah.
All right, any takeaways, like big picture, what do you want people to think about this pedal when they want to buy it?
I want them to pick it up and I want them to think this is the best damn pedal I've ever bought, and I'm smarter than everyone else I know because of it.
I was telling Sean earlier, literally the first thing when I had him drop it off at my house, and he had mentioned that I needed to play it, make sure it worked. And when I eventually did get an opportunity to play it, immediately I wrote a new Champ song, which was super cool. Like, I wasn't intending to do that. I was just riffing on the octave setting, and I was like, this sounds sick. I should like put other guitars behind this. And then it actually kind of triggered a deeper rabbit hole where now I'm like trying to set up like the perfect demo template, but that's not for right now. My demos are sounding great, by the way. And some of it has to do with this pedal. But yeah, no, I really hope it just like inspires someone to make something cool. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we do here. We make tools, we put out songs, we hope to inspire others to do the same. So that's really what I hope.
We're Tallon Electric. This is Tyler. This is the Champ. Pick it up, play with it, figure out something new, enjoy it, tell your friends.
Pick it up, play with it.